Hello and welcome. It's Matthew David, and I just wanted to begin this journey we're going to take. So if you're out there and you want to join in for a little bit, we're not going to go too long, but I do want to talk for about, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, maybe, we'll see. So just give me a shout out if you're there. And so we're doing this renewing of your mind. That's what it's going to be for the next 12 days. And I think I was going to start 2 days from now, but I wanted to start a little early just because I've been working on the new process that I'm going to show you. And so God's been giving me the ideas, and I want to share them while they're fresh because it's the only way I can remember is by teaching. Otherwise, if I don't teach it, then I just kind of move into my other habits, and I want to adopt this new habit for a while. So let's see, who's out there? Let me know you're out there. I can't see anybody. I don't know what's going on. Anyway. So I want to talk about the renewing of your mind, and this idea came to me about a week ago, and it's this idea of outer space. Where you're born in this world, and they tell you, we're going to conquer the final frontier. It's outer space, right? And so I, studied some of the work of Tesla and some people that were even brighter than Tesla. And we talk about the laws of magnetics and electricity. And out there, the outer space is actually the loss of power, loss of inertia. And so it's a program, okay? So you're being programmed at a very early phase of your development to look out there for advancements and for all the secrets to the world. You're told to look out from outside of yourself. And the real secret is counter space, is power inward. The journey is inward and the world is inside of you. That's what the great mystics have always said. And so the riddle here is that in the Gnostic Gospels it says material man was foreign to Jesus. So was material man or Jesus, which one was from outer space? They call him the space Jew. Some people call Jesus the space Jew. Now, that's not too far from the truth, because if he came from out there, according to the five senses, then he would have been from outer space and materially clothed in a fashion-formed body. And he said, woe unto you who've seen the Son of Man. So he's telling you right there that if you're looking outside of yourself for the answers, you've got it all wrong. And that's the whole secret here. So I'm just going to share some ideas, then give you the simple process that we're working with here. So the outward force is called centrifugal. That's the outer radiation that goes out, and then the centripetal is toward the center. And that's just simple laws of magnetics, and like attracts like. That's the whole law of attraction in simplistic form, is that like attracts like. So you have to reflect that which you desire, okay? And so you can hear things in our language. We say, give me some space. We want people to give us some space when we feel crowded. And what we're saying is that we are caught up in the outer and we are misguided in our steps. We're being confused. All right? And then the idea in the Bible of the serpent, the serpent comes along. And a serpent we know it as a snake. And you look up the etymology of serpent. And so serpent is the name for Satan, and it's also creepy and crawl, a creepy crawler. And it's another word for crooked or dishonest. So it's a crooked idea. Now, everything exists in the realm of ideas. So the big concept for you to grab is that the enemy, the serpent, can't touch you from out there. Okay, it doesn't happen out there. It happens when it comes into your thought life. All right? So the big moment here is that nothing can affect you until it comes in your inner kingdom. In other words, until it enters your middle kingdom thought life, and then it sinks down into your heart space. Okay, the inner kingdom. I am is right here. I am presence. I am God is right here in the heart. It's the eternal now. It is the counter space. It is the divine life, eternal, of you existing in the mind of God. It is the holy of holies, okay? So give me some space. The world is crowding me. Okay? Well, ego says, I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to take action. I'm going to, defend myself. And then we know the ancient mystics have always talked about that in your defenselessness is your strength. In your vulnerability is your strength. Now, the real idea is to get you out of the way. It's to get your human perspective out of the picture altogether. Not my will, but thine will be done is the attitude that reflects the perfect will of God or good being made manifest in your life. And so what God revealed to me, and this has been over the course of many months, and I heard this first said in the I Am Discourses of Saint Germain, is that we must qualify every thought with perfection and do that process for a good 3 weeks if you want to really break free from material reality altogether. Now, this isn't going to be easy. Now, I'm going to do this journey as best as I can, and I've been doing it for a few days. And I want to give you this disclaimer here, is that when you first begin to do this, it's going to seem like things are getting worse right out of the chute, right off the bat. You'll probably be discouraged by day one, probably within the first hour. And if you're like most people, you're going to throw in the towel and you're going to walk away from this until some other time in your life, maybe, if you're lucky. I'm just telling you that up front because I want to be a realist. But if your heart is for God and you really want to go all the way, then I'm going to ask you to join me, and we're going to do something that's going to be very uncommon. And it's going to be very simple in application, but it's going to be very challenging, because what I've noticed, and I've done this, is that when you begin to do this process and you say, I'm going to qualify everything in my thought life with perfection, everything is going to come up. The dark is going to come up to seek the light, because what you're doing is you are being the light and the darkness is attracted to that light. So everything in you that is not of reflecting the pure mind of God is going to come up for you to qualify it. You're inviting this to happen in your life. So, just a warning. If you want to carry on and keep doing things the way that you've always done them, it might be a lot easier for you. And I've noticed this. You're going to be challenged. But remember, it's trickery. The serpent is deceitfulness. It's dishonesty. So as the serpent tries to tempt you, remember, Jesus was tempted for 40 days. See, this is all letting you know what's going to happen. See, you qualify everything in your world. Now, what is 40 days? It's the equivalent of 2-3 week cycles, right? Well, let me ask you a question. Would you be willing to commit to 3 weeks to qualify everything in your world with perfection if you knew that you could walk away from the stronghold of this world once and for all and be in that eternal place of settling in your heart that God is all, not because you think so, but because you know so? See, that's the journey. This is a real course in mastery that you're going to give to yourself. Nobody out there can give you a course in mastery. They can only point you to the inner and tell you that that's the place where you must come to rest in peace. See, you must die to the world in order to be resurrected in life, in spirit. You must turn within, not to the outer space journey. It's not out there. It's here. So, here's how it's done. Everything that comes up that is discordant, okay? Now, I talked about this, turn away from it, right? There's 4 simple things that I say. Because when I thought about it, I said, God, what does it mean I am perfection, right? I am the light that cannot fail. What it means is God loves you. See, most people, including myself, can't accept the full degree of God's love that wants to come into your reality through your heart into the world. You have to receive God's love. Now, that's not as easy as it sounds. It's not an intellectual game. It's a heart condition. Receiving the fullness of God's love can only be done by qualifying what's going on in this middle kingdom with perfection and supplanting it with truth until you have brought all of the darkness up and you have transmuted it into light. This is something you have to do. It's a house cleaning thing. And it's the battle of your mind, like Joyce Myers would say. But you have to do something proactively. So when you're tempted by Satan, maybe a bill shows up and you don't have the funds to pay it. You know, maybe it's a guy I just ran into who's a guy younger than me who said he's been given less than a couple months to live, okay? Full-blown cancer everywhere in his body. And by the way, I'm going to ask you guys if you'll be willing to pray for me in service of him later. So just stay with me till the end. See, I believe we can witness God change that. Not because we have any power, but because God never created that dysfunction and that disease. So anyway, whether it's that, whether it's relationship trouble, whether it's the world at large and you're just afraid that the wrong guy is going to get in office and your whole reality is going to come crashing down, whatever it is, you must know that it first comes from out there, okay? It's a temptation to sin. And sin is to fear, to become confused. It's to lack trust. It's to be double-minded and to live in a state of division. That's what sin is. And you see this creepy crawly thing, this serpent, according to the Gnostic Gospels, the serpent, it says it creeps and crawls. That's what serpent is in etymology, and it also means dishonest and crookedness. So crookedness sweeps the earth, looking for those who can be beguiled in the middle place. That's exact words of what it says in the Gnostic Gospels, beguiled in the middle place. So in other words, it's trickery and deceitfulness. And welcome everybody, Joel, Crystal, Sabrina, good to see you here. So at the moment, in the moment you are deceived because something out there tells you that there is a claim against your good, your life, your joy, your perfection. It's as simple as this: God loves me. You turn away from the thought suggestion immediately. God loves me. I refuse to worry. God knows all. I trust God's plan. Real simple, huh? So as you begin to do this, and this is what God has revealed to me, that this is the season for this. It's to qualify everything and bring the light to it. I've noticed that since I've been doing this, more and more and more is coming up because it's been suppressed for so long. You see, anytime you push against something in your life, get this, you suppress and you collect it. So you've had years and decades of pushing against things that have come from the outer, that have tempted you and tormented you and trapped you in the middle place. But that has been obstructing the sight of God's love being manifest through you. That is God's will for you. But you can't receive this until you qualify that mind of yours and renew this mind. But as you begin to do this, you're going to remove years and decades of misqualified thoughts that have sunk into your heart and created lower than acceptable vibrational states that are holding you captive in reality experiences that are not conducive to your joy or your happiness or the good for all. Because the only thing that should come out of you is love, and then you are a perfect conduit of God's will. When nothing but love comes out of you, like Wayne Dyer says, when you squeeze an orange, only orange juice comes out. When you're squeezed, only love should come out of you, and it can only do that if you qualify these thoughts and you perfect them. Your life is your thought life. There is no physical reality. Everything is thought. You exist in the mind of God, but the problem is this serpent, this creepy crawly, this place of ignorance has beguiled humans in the middle place for eons, it says. But we don't have to accept that anymore. So the simple way to do this is when I'm troubled, when I'm feeling discord, and I recommend you follow me in this journey. I refuse to accept this in my outer. You say that first. I refuse this in my outer. I am presence, come forth and govern this harmoniously. Call forth God. I am presence, come forth and govern this. Then sink it into your heart. Contemplate what God knows to be true. See, instead of focusing on the problem and trying to overcome a problem, the solution is to contemplate what God is knowing. So, God loves me. God loves me. I refuse to worry. He knows all. I trust His plan for my life. Jesus said, take no thought for your life. Remember the story of the lilies and the Solomon and all these things that are just, that whole story was about how if you would just let go, God could clothe you with the material things of your life, even more so than you can even do for yourself. That's what it says in plain sight. But you have to qualify these thoughts. So here's the practice, and I'm going to wrap this up, is the discipline. To be a true disciple means you have to walk in discipline. If you are a disciple of Jesus, the Christ, the Messiah, then you are a disciplined person. You are a person of principle and not of impulse, reactionary. Okay, you're not acting out the same old stuck place. So, discord comes. I refuse to accept this in my outer. I am presence, come forth and govern this situation harmoniously. And then, close your eyes if you have to. Turn away from the thought, the serpent. It must come in as a thought. It's trying to captivate you in the middle place. It's trying to tell you that there's a lack of good somewhere in your life. You don't contemplate that. You contemplate how much God loves you. God loves me. Contemplate this as deep as you can. As deep as you can. God loves me. I refuse to worry. He knows all. I trust His plan. God loves me. If you will contemplate how much God loves you every time discord comes, you will overwrite the software and you will know the thoughts of God because you will be in alignment with the thought of God. And this is what brings transformation. This is the only thing that will transform you, is the renewing of your mind. It is a discipline, and it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be simple. I challenge you to take it one moment of your day at a time and stay with it for at least 3 weeks. Okay, now you don't think in terms of 3 weeks, because then you'll be discouraged and you'll quit the first time the real big stuff starts coming up to be cleansed. You think of it in terms of one moment of your life at a time. Right now, I am here parked in the parking lot. I'm going to work out. So as I go work out, if a serpent tries to come into my thought life and torment me, I shoot it down instantly. Satan, get underneath my feet. That's what it means. I say, wait, God loves me. I crowd it out. I'm going to crowd out all of the space. And that's the mind of God. Because God doesn't have fear. God doesn't have doubt. God doesn't have problems. So if you're contemplating problems, then you don't have the mind of God. So you need to reflect the mind of God in order to have the life that God gave you. That's why you should not take thought for your life. Because if you take thought for your life is filled with troubles, and therefore you're going to get nothing but troubles. But if you take thought for God's life, then you have the mind of Christ. And that's the way to go about this. And so this is your chance for mastery in this lifetime, because this is your life. And this is your moment. I'm on the journey already. I'm on like day 4, and I'm going to tell you that slippage is to be allowed a little bit, okay? So here's what it looks like. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. I'm just going to be real. If you're thinking perfection is going to come from a human position, it's not going to happen. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. Catch yourself. What you're doing is you're creating a new habit, and your daily habits become your destiny. Once you have a habit of turning things right side up every time they're presented to you in thought, then you've controlled the part of you that has influence over your life. And that's right here. Because it reflects the mind of God now. And as you do contemplate the one thing that will change your life more than anything, God loves me. God loves me. From your human perspective, you can only reason what that is possibly capable of. You might love your children, but you probably don't love them a fraction of how much God loves his children, because you're flawed from a human perspective. Okay? So this is lesson number 1. This is lesson number 1. Now I'm going to come live every day for 12 days here. And I'm going to reinforce a lot of this every day. But I'm going to build on it. So simple steps. And I'm going to build on this, okay, for 12 days. And I'm going to help you along this journey because I'm on it with you. And we're going to renew our minds. And we're going to come into this new season with victory. And it's going to be incredible. So, glad you stuck around. If you're in, let me know. Put the comments below. Tell me I'm in. And I'll read your comments after my workout. I know it works because I've read the Bible so many times, and you know this works. You know you have to renew your mind. This is not a game. You can't just think it, though. You can't, oh, yeah, I need to renew my mind. It's a great idea. You know what? I'll do that tomorrow. Or, oh, no. I'll do it on Sunday when I go to church. You know, I'll bring all my problems in. It has to be right now. It has to be every moment. It has to be this moment. And it has to be perpetual. It has to be full on. This is what God reminded me of. I asked God, I said, God, what was it about me when I had the most prosperity in my life? What did I do right? And you know, then I just sit there in quiet. And if you ask God in quiet, he'll speak to you. You'll get intuition. You'll know. And God took me back to the place when I was in that store and I had nothing and I had nothing to lose. And I just said, God, if I go down, I'm going to go down believing in you. That right there is the heart that God is looking for. If you put all of your trust in God, if I go down, I'm going to go down believing in you. That's your miracle right there. So, I'll see you tomorrow. And I want to know how it goes for you. So keep a note, keep a journal. I've been keeping a journal on this. Keep a journal because you're going to be surprised. You're going to be surprised by the things that show up from doing this, because you're going to be cleaning for the first time probably in your life. And as it comes up, don't contemplate it. Do not contemplate the fears that come up. That's not what you do. You qualify it. And you get into the knowing that God loves you. And you'll change this, and you'll change this. And this is everything right here. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. See you tomorrow, guys.